Hi everyone, welcome to the Rugby League History channel. Today I'll be doing my tips for round 12 of the 2023 NRL season. Last week I got 5 out of 8 correct. Maybe I could have got more, but I decided to take a couple of risks and it backfired. So we'll see how many we get this week. There's some massive games coming up, so let's start off with the first match, which is kicking off on Thursday night. And the first match to start round 12 is Brisbane against Penrith. This one sees Brisbane in second place at the moment, Penrith in third. This match has been played at Suncorp Stadium. These two sides met earlier in the year on the 3rd of March, and Brisbane won 13 points to 12 over Penrith in a massive upset there out at Penrith Stadium. Penrith have won 4 of their last 5 matches against Brisbane, and they come into the match after a big win over the Sydney Roosters last week. With injury news, Brisbane have been dealt a massive blow with Adam Reynolds being ruled out for, it could be longer than a week, could be 2 or 3 weeks. His head hit the ground pretty hard when he was chasing that ball against Melbourne and he was knocked out cold, so I think he definitely won't be playing this week against Penrith. Penrith come into this match with some decent form, and Brisbane once again lost to their bogey side Melbourne last week, but they'll be up for this game at Suncorp. This is such a hard game to call, but I'll go for Penrith to win by probably 6 points just. I think that the fact that Adam Reynolds isn't there is a huge blow for Brisbane, so I'm going to go for Penrith to win by a small margin. And the first match on the Friday is between St George and Sydney Roosters. This one is being played at Kogarah Oval, and it sees St George in 16th place at the moment and Sydney Roosters in 10th. This is also the early kickoff game on the Friday, so great work by the NRL to put a game at Kogarah Oval at 6 o'clock at night on a Friday when you've got gridlock traffic outside there on the Prince's Motorway. That's really going to help fans get to the game, isn't it? Coming into this fixture, St George have lost their last 6 matches in a row. East have lost their last 2 matches in a row, and they were humbled last week against Penrith. These two sides met recently on Anzac Day and were a very close match. East just won 27 points to 26 there at the new Sydney Football Stadium. Before that though, in the last few years, East and Suburbs have had a very good record over St George in the league. Looking at some injury news for this game, Jared Hargreaves, it says it's to be confirmed how long he's out for. Joey Manu, same thing. Sam Walker's out till round 14. Daniel Tupou's out till round 14. Moravsky is out till round 22. And Connor Watson's out as well. So lots of outs for East going into this match. And if St George are going to get a win, I mean, they've been under so much pressure, not just on and off the field, but also in the media. Questions around Anthony Griffin, whether he's going to be there in the coming months. So for Saints, this is a better time than any to get a result over Sydney Roosters. But it's really hard to call this match, but I'll go for Sydney Roosters to win, and with no confidence. But St George are just playing really bad at the moment. They've lost 6 in a row, so I'll go Sydney Roosters to win, but with zero confidence. And the main match on the Friday is between South Sydney and Parramatta. This one's being played at the new Sydney Football Stadium. It sees South Sydney, top of the league, having a laugh at the moment against Parramatta in 14th. South Sydney coming into this match having won the last 6 matches in the league, and Parramatta have lost the last 2 matches in the league. When it comes to Parramatta, South Sydney are their ultimate bogey side at the moment. They've overtaken Newcastle and Gold Coast to take top spot. In the last 9 fixtures against these two sides, Parramatta's only won once. And some of the score lines, I'll read out to you: 38-0, 38-24, 38-20, 40 points to 12, 30 points to 12, 26-0, 42 points to 24. So every time these two sides play, South Sydney just batter Parramatta. Looking at the injury list, South Sydney are going to be without Tom Burgess, Jed Cartwright, Davey Mawali, Keon Kulamatungi. He's not going to be there. And with Parramatta, Sean Lane's not going to be there after he tore his hamstring. Also, I doubt you'll see Junior Paulo playing because he's going to get suspended for what he did. And most likely Bailey Simonson as well won't be playing due to that hip drop tackle, but that's a bit of a blessing in disguise because Bailey Simonson's a liability. I watched Parramatta's last game against Canberra, and I just thought that once again it was just the same old story, just key errors at key moments, doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. And even though they're 14th, they necessarily haven't played badly. They don't play like a 14th place side, but it's just once again just shooting themselves in the foot, doing the wrong thing at the wrong time, and also losing by less than 10 points. So they're in games, but they just can't get the job done. For this match, I'm going to go for South Sydney to win by at least 20 points. I think they'll win comfortably. It's just, I don't know what it is, but whenever Parramatta play against South, Brad Arthur never changes the tactics up. He never changes now coming into the game. And South Sydney, their styles, the way that they play is just too good for Parramatta, and Para can't hold them. So I'll go for South to win by at least 20 points. And the first match on the Super Saturday is between Cronulla-Sutherland and Newcastle. This one's being played at the Coffs Harbour International Stadium. This sees Cronulla in 4th place up against Newcastle in 11th. Now, I know I say this every year, but the Coffs Harbour International Stadium is the site of the world record where the largest victory in an international football match took place when Australia defeated American Samoa 31 points to 0. I know I say it every year, but it's my channel and I'm going to keep saying it. Cronulla coming into this match, having won the Battle of the Beaches last week over rivals Manly. They'll be buzzing over that. And Newcastle with a surprising win over the Gold Coast. I think I'm one of the few people that tipped Newcastle to win, and they did just that on the Sunday over the Gold Coast. Since 2015, Cronulla's had a good record over Newcastle. They've won 10 of the last 14 encounters against them in the league. And I think at the moment, Cronulla have been playing quite well this year compared to Newcastle. I know Newcastle got the victory, but I'm going to go for Cronulla to win this game. I'm going to go for them to win 1-12 there on the Saturday in Coffs Harbour. And the second match on Super Saturday is between West Tigers and North Queensland. This one's being played at Leichhardt Oval. It sees West Tigers, who are still rock bottom of the table, and North Queensland in 13th. According to Trademark Sports a couple of weeks ago on TikTok, he claimed that this is going to be the last ever NRL game to be played at Leichhardt Oval because apparently they're not going to get funding to redevelop the ground or something like that. But I've heard probably about 5 or 6 times in my lifetime that Leichhardt Oval is going to be closed down and they're not going to play matches in there anymore, and it's never the case. So it could be the last match there, but I don't think it will be. Now, the last time that these two sides played against each other, it were very controversial. North Queensland won the game after the siren. There were an escort penalty right towards the end of the game. The penalty went to North Queensland and Valentine Holmes kicked the penalty goal to win 27-26. And the last time that North Queensland played at Leichhardt Oval, it were the scene of, unfortunately, Tommy Raudonikis died, and it was a big day for the West Club, and North Queensland basically went there and spoiled the party. They won 34 points to 30, and I remember at half-time the West Tigers supporters booed their team off the pitch. Overall, though, North Queensland have a very poor record at Leichhardt Oval. They've only won there twice since 1998. For this match, it's going to be really hard to call because West Tigers have had a bit of a resurgence. North Queensland are slowly starting to find their feet again. North Queensland have a few players out. West Tigers have a couple of key players out. It's going to be a really interesting game, but I'm going to take a bit of a risk. I just have a feeling North Queensland's going to steal the win somehow. So I'll go for North Queensland to win 1-12 there on the Saturday at Leichhardt Oval. And the final match on Super Saturday is between Redcliffe and Melbourne. This one's being played at Suncorp Stadium. It sees Redcliffe in 6th at the moment and Melbourne in 5th. Redcliffe coming into this game off the bye, so they'll be fresh for this game. As for Melbourne, they come in after beating Brisbane once again. For this match, I will go for Melbourne to win 1-12. One of the main reasons is that they have such a good record at Suncorp Stadium, and a lot of their players either are from Queensland originally, or they've spent time with the feeder sides up in Queensland. So going and playing in Queensland's not unfamiliar to them, and I think that's why they've got such a good record up there. And I think that in some ways Melbourne are slowly starting to find their feet this year. Redcliffe's going to be a tough game, but I just have a feeling that Melbourne's going to win, so I go for Melbourne to win 1-12 there on the Saturday. And the first match on the Sunday is between Canterbury-Bankstown and the Gold Coast. It sees Canterbury in 15th at the moment, the Gold Coast in 9th, and this one's being played at Stadium Australia. In recent times, the Gold Coast have had quite a good record over Canterbury. The men from the Glitter Strip have won 4 of the last 6 encounters against them. However, last time out on the 24th of July 2022, Canterbury won 36 points to 26. This is such a hard game to call because the Gold Coast is so up and down. With Canterbury, they haven't hit the heights I think that a lot of people expected them to. With this match, I think it's definitely going to be high scoring. Most of the matches that you see the Gold Coast compete in, they're very high scoring. I think this is probably going to be the lowest attended game of the week, the way that Canterbury are going and the fact that Gold Coast have basically no away support. So it's going to be a very low attended match, but it's also going to be a very high scoring affair. So it's literally flip of the coin to see how this match is going to go. I think though I'm going to lead towards Canterbury. I think Canterbury can bounce back after being so disappointing last week against New Zealand. And also the fact that the Gold Coast don't have a very good record at Stadium Australia. Since 2007, they've only won 5 matches there. So I'll go for Canterbury to win, but with virtually no confidence. And the final match to close out round 12 is between Canberra and Manly-Warringah. It sees Canberra in 7th place at the moment, Manly in 12th. And this match is being played at Bruce Stadium in Canberra. Canberra coming into this match having won the last 5 matches in the league, and Manly have lost their last 3 matches in the league. In recent times, the head-to-head between these two sides, Manly have won 7 times, Canberra have won 3 times. And at Bruce Stadium, Manly is one of the few teams that has a positive record there. Since 1991, they've won 10 matches there. They've lost 8 and there's been 1 draw. So out of most clubs in the NRL, they can boast and say, look, we've got a good record down there at Bruce Stadium. Manly is still without a few players though. Sipley's out. Jake Travojevic, he's still out. Kelma Tuolagi, he's been ruled out. And Oshiole, Josh Alloway, he's been ruled out as well. As for Canberra, Nick Cottrett's still out. Zach Wilford is out with concussion. Danny Levi's still out, and also I doubt Corey Horsburgh will be playing either. I imagine he'd probably get a week suspension for punching Ryan Mattison. For this match, I'm going to go for Canberra to win. I'm going to go for them to win 1-12. Even though they didn't set the world on fire for me last week against Parramatta, they did the right things at the right moments and got the job done. So I'll go Canberra to win 1-12. So that concludes my tips for round 12 of the 2023 NRL season. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section below and let me know who you're tipping. Thanks to everyone last week for watching my video. You made it the 2nd most watched NRL tipping video on YouTube. I can't thank you enough for that. If you like Rugby League history on YouTube, then you can follow me on TikTok, Instagram and Facebook. Links in the description below. Anyways, this has been Rugby League history. Bye for now.